All right, guys. So welcome to season 3.
This first episode of season 3.
First episode of season 3, our most professional episode yet.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Which is why you're dressed like a dad, and
you know,
I'm dressed.
I feel like I'm just ready to dive into. The
I'm dressed like a questionable young adult pastor. Someone that he's going to be unemployed in 2 years. 2 years. All right. So who we have with us? If you're just joining, my name is Michael. Across from me is
Nate.
It's different. I don't have to say it that way because we are recorded now on video, and you can watch this. Who's sitting with us today?
Well, my name is Jesus.
My name's DeAnna.
Yes. So they're definitely not nervous and ready for conversations. How Ark Youth Conversations go is we typically, in the most ADD level of fashions, we go from casual to deep to deeper casual.
Yes. Well said.
All back again. Yeah. You could tell who really earned his bachelor's.
Yeah, that was the camo pants talking.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
My professor on one of my papers literally just said, I understand what you're trying to say, but you don't read enough books. And it was...
So he called you smart without calling you or not
me
smart.
basically, you might be smart, but you're also dumb.
Oh.
You're not an educated person.
Whoa.
Still holding on to that.
Yeah, it's painful. All right, so we're you guys are at the age where you have jobs that you're an entry level job. This is you're not starting off like CEO as a corporation.
We're at the bottom.
They're like put the fries in the bag. It is entry level. Have you had a job that you're like this was terrible? Yeah, but it got me started, or I was there, or is it a current job? And can you put their sponsor right here in the link below?
I work with my dad right now.
Okay.
So I mean, it's good work.
Yes.
But it's a lot of hard labor.
Yeah. What is it specifically for those that don't know?
It's landscaping. So we do anything from drainage to trimming bushes and all that.
Dude, that's hot.
But I mean, in the summer it gets tough. So I mean, besides that, I mean, I'm good with the work. Yeah. But I like it for sure.
Okay. So this is a good one.
It's not tough.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Is this the only job you've ever had?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've never worked traditionally in a McDonald's before.
A customer service.
Yeah. DeAnna, what about you?
Never had a job.
You've never had a job?
I'm 14.
So what job?
Get a job.
14.
What job do you want to have, DeAnna?
I don't know. I like community service. So stuff like.
So you want to go to jail first and then serve the community?
I don't know about working in a McDonald's, but like outreach things.
So with shade from it, do you think it's bad to work at McDonald's? Why do you think there's a stigma? I know there is.
It's kind of dirty.
It's kind of dirty.
Yeah.
It's dirty and it's looked down upon.
Yeah.
Because it's McDonald's.
It's McDonald's.
It's McDonald's. It's like the lowest
cheap.
of the low.
But it's fast food.
Careful now.
What's in it?
McDouble.
You know what's in it?
What's in it? Mechanically separated meat.
Exactly.
It's not good
pink
for you. Goo.
I'm telling you right now, I've told our staff this. I grew up probably having McDonald's 3 times a week.
Oh, me too.
My body's probably just all it is plastics at this point. I'm okay for right now. We'll see in a few years if that lines up.
Right.
Yeah,
we're gonna see.
I guess that's fair.
Well, no, he has not stopped.
Okay,
I don't know 3 times.
I mean, 3 times a week.
I try to help him.
Maybe 2
once a week.
Maybe 2. Yeah, you have metabolism of a horse. I'm sure you could digest anything.
Not worried about microplastics.
Yeah, I mean, I loved McDonald's, but I got sick 2 or 3 times from it. Specifically, I knew it was
like
McDonald's.
Food poisoning or
that level.
Ugh.
Oh, that's
And
why
I
it's the
was
lowest of the low.
Yeah. Chick-fil-A never did it to me like that.
Dude, Jose worked at McDonald's, right?
Dude,
shout out to Jose.
Jose has worked everywhere.
Yeah, he has worked everywhere.
He's worked at
Sonic.
Cane's, McDonald's, Sonic.
Yeah.
He's at Cold Stone right now.
Yep.
The dude is trying to Thanos himself into every
He's got all the
entry
rings.
level
All the
food
jewels.
job.
Yeah.
All right, so I just want to say there's a reason why Jesus is on this podcast.
Yes.
He did his homework.
He does homework.
He listened to the previous podcast.
Where the chips at though?
Yes.
And he brought. I know. I had said we should have brought chips. And
we
didn't
have anything unique. We also were baking off of like no one listening that deeply.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just happened to listen to that one. All right?
Yes. So
I like the podcast.
At least you're honest.
In a podcast, we had said we just jokingly were like, but we were like, we're gonna commit. We're gonna get you chips. We were like, if you give us the specific bag of chips, we just dropped it in an episode. We're like, you obviously paid attention.
Yeah.
And Jesus just showed up
with
the chips, like weeks after we recorded it. And I was like, oh, he actually listened. Like, because it was the specific brand.
I think it was March that you guys put it out. Yeah.
So to show up late April, it was like, all right. That was a surprise. So yeah, it paid off. So
That's
DeAnna, you're here.
I'm here.
She signed the paper.
Are you gonna get your permit?
Yeah, 1 to 15.
And then are you gonna try to get your license at 16?
Oh yeah.
Okay. The question for y'all. I feel like some students don't get their license whenever they're 16.
Yeah.
They wait till they're like 17, 18.
Yeah, that's what
even like older. Why do you think that is?
20?
I don't know.
Yeah. Like,
I feel like some people are kind of scared.
Lazy.
Of like,
do you think it's a
road
kid thing or a parent thing or both?
Sometimes it's a parent thing. Some people like don't want their kids to like drive away.
They don't want their kids to drive.
Like, yeah, because they still want to like make sure that you're okay. No, my parents are the same way. They're like, after you get your license, you're picking up your brother from school.
Yes. Opportunities.
Yeah.
Like, you can go get us groceries. Like,
exactly.
The world has opened up. I have noticed it's more and more people want to delay that process. It's a rite of passage in my mind.
Yeah.
Of independence. Like when you can drive somewhere.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You're like, dang, it's just me in the car. It's my own music. It's at my own pace.
Whatever I want to do.
Yes, it's a wonderful feeling. That first like time you start driving.
Yeah,
it's a
it's amazing,
great feeling.
So the kids who don't drive because you think their parents are afraid. Do you feel like as a teenager, do you feel like there are things that your parents personally or you've seen other parents that fears from parents slowly get like instilled in their kids?
Oh, 100%.
Well, like what other things do you feel like that happens with? Driving,
burning hell.
The phones.
The phone stuff.
The obvious one.
Hellfire.
I would say phones.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure. Yeah. Like being able to have like Snapchat or like TikTok or anything. Like some of my friends don't have anything and they're like scrolling through Pinterest finding videos and I'm like,
what
okay.
I definitely don't ever
never used Pinterest before. So do you know what the term tinfoil hat means?
No.
So it's a term of like crazy people back.
Did that come from the movie Signs? This is a cut. Or was
came,
that before?
It came from
Signs?
To my understanding, it came from like
was that before?
No, this was way before.
Way before
like
Signs.
50s and like 60s.
That's right. That's
when
right.
When people were into aliens,
and because when that was
a lot of
TVs,
TVs, they were like
TVs
were coming
out,
TVs and electrical wiring. Yes,
that's right.
Oh,
from the waves, from the waves.
So the term I'm putting on a tinfoil hat means they're getting a little crazy. Like they're losing reason.
They're not in the right mind.
They're not as grounded with the thought.
Gotcha.
What do you think adults are a little tinfoil hat about when it comes to phone stuff? Like you're maybe a little bit too much on Facebook. Like that's not actually true.
Yeah.
Well, because some things parents are like, just they're like, I know Satan's on Snapchat.
Yeah. Yes.
Which he might be, but but like that idea where you're like, okay, that's a bit extreme. Like that's a tinfoil. Like we're getting a little crazy here.
I don't know. Like I feel like sometimes with like Snapchat and stuff, like they're thinking that you're like doing something like insanely bad, like texting someone you don't know or like selling something, or I'm like,
right, yeah,
what?
You think like, you're only talking to predators?
Yes,
on
and then I'm like, I'm just texting my friend, like,
real.
You know her, you met her, like I don't know.
So you think they don't understand that Snapchat is not just a dark place; it's also the form of communication between friends.
Yeah, we were talking about.
Do y'all both have Snapchat?
Yeah.
I do.
Do you text or Snapchat more?
Like
Snapchat.
send snaps?
Yeah. Like do you whenever you're communicating with your friends? Text message?
I Snapchat more. Yeah. Like because I feel like most of my friends, like especially like 9th graders, like they text through Snap even if they have like your number.
Right.
So
yeah. I barely have any friends, so I'm not in that
boat. You're like, I don't struggle with it.
Snapchat is not my thing.
You're like, I snap myself.
No, I'm not there.
Snap myself.
Snap yourself, just self. Yeah. Oh, jeez. You know that's when an app is ruined. Is when the parents are like, "Hey, we can talk. We can talk."
That's what happened with Facebook.
That's happened with Facebook. That's what's TikTok.
But what's happening with Instagram?
TikTok, it's happening.
Yeah.
Yes, my dad has TikTok.
Yeah. Yeah,
yes,
that's true.
When they're sending you definitely not politically charged stuff through your DMs, tagging you, you should read this. Man. You're like, yeah, maybe sending it off Facebook.
I'm good. None of that.
You're like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. Next thing you know, they tag you in, if you scroll past this, Jesus doesn't love you kind of thing.
Oh, those are the worst. I hate those.
I was done with Facebook. I'm like, we didn't leave. We didn't leave.
Just a video that you don't watch? What? How's that gonna?
Yes, no. But it was. Do you guys know what I'm talking about though?
Yeah, I've seen those.
I actually had a junior hire come up to me a couple months ago and say, like, "What do I do with those?" And I was like,
"You scroll past.
You scroll past."
They're trying to manipulate.
They were like, "But what if?" I was like, "No.
What if?
What if?
What?
No.
What if?
What if you need to read your Bible?
Finally, he's like, you know what, I died on the cross, but not for you.
But you didn't share that.
You didn't like and share. You didn't say Jesus is King in the comments.
I would hate to think that
thing
people actually struggle with that, and they do. There are people like they really struggle with that level of religious thought. So let's talk about hell. Okay.
Fair question. Snapchat.
Fair question. Okay, so one group I came in extra tired on our podcast, and I was just like, "What's the meaning of life?" Like we just dropped into like hard, like, "What's the meaning of life?" Okay, what do you think is the biggest overreaction between parents and their kids right now?
Overreaction.
Yeah,
like,
you're like they're
or like disagreement. The biggest like
something where
strife.
Like they're afraid. There's a high level fear in this area.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's justified.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, because like I don't know, because like overreaction. Like my parents overreact when I say the wrong stuff or like I say it in the wrong tone. So like I don't really know like a big overreaction.
So then I'll put like this little kinder terms. Do you think there's like something they're afraid of that you're like, okay, like maybe it's not?
Yeah, I feel like they're afraid of like me having like the wrong friends or like doing the wrong things or going out at the wrong time.
Right.
Like there was like this thing at the mall. Something happened at the mall and they were like, you can't go.
Oh.
Because they don't want you to go to like the bathrooms or something like that. And it's like they're doing stuff that I didn't know was like that was going on, but they knew about it. So like be careful, like, which I don't know if it's like an overreaction, but like they know that I wouldn't do something like that. So
they're trying to get you in the right environment.
Yeah.
You haven't had the history that's been an issue.
Yeah.
But they're already reacting.
Yeah, and I was like, I haven't done anything. So.
Yeah, I can understand where you're like, okay, it's a bit intense, but you understand that that's a tightrope.
Yeah,
that's a thin line. What about you, Jesus?
I'd say fear of the unknown, stuff that you don't know, and just because you haven't been there before, that's definitely a sticking point, because you don't know where you're walking into, and I think it has to do with like where you put your faith in. Because if your faith is in God, I mean, you're good. At the end of the day, you're gonna come out on top. So that's definitely the fear of the unknown. One of my biggest things.
Yeah. Do you? And it's hard to ask these because no one wants to hate on their own parents. But do you feel like parents sometimes take things from their own? I missed this whenever I was a kid, so I don't want you to miss it too.
100%.
Like their own losses a little bit.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, as a parent, like I probably do the same thing with my kids at times.
I don't want you to end up like me. Right. Not realizing that's still gonna hard as they try. They're never going to end up like you. Fully. They'll have their own decisions, but. Yeah, I think that is a concern of parents, and the extremes vary.
Yeah.
Maybe based on their past and how detached they feel from it. So they might react to something very sensitively, and you're like, I don't really get that. Like, why? I mean, I understand, but like, it's really like, why that sensitive? And it might be because it's just they're like, this leads to that, to that, to that, to that, to that, and
Well, and I asked that because I think overcoming a fear from your parents is sometimes harder than overcoming your own internal fear. Because like even growing up, it's like if like your parents are there, it almost feels like that's like ingrained in you a little bit and ingrained in your family. So it's not something that like, oh, just happened last week or last month or last year. It's like, no, this is like who we are as people, you know,
passed down through generations.
Yes. Very, very much
like
so.
a generational curse.
Very much so. How have you guys ever had to deal with that, or have you ever seen your friends or like what advice would you give on, hey, my parents react here, they're afraid of this thing, how do we overcome that? You have any advice or any thoughts on that?
Well, there's like things that like my parents are kind of sensitive to, and like my mom especially, like she kind of gets like upset about like smaller things. And so like I realized that I've been doing that recently, and so like I have to like reevaluate like what I'm doing and what I'm saying and how I'm saying it, because like there's things where I say something and it seems like rude, but it's not like intentionally rude, but I just said it like wrong, and then I end up having to like having to apologize for it because I hurt somebody else by saying something.
So not thinking about how you deliver it.
Yeah.
I think that's for sure one of the things that it's hard to kind of know exactly how they're going to react, because when in the moment you're saying something and then it leads to another thing, and then it could lead to another thing, but at the end of the day, I mean, you can't control what the reaction is going to be. I think you have to go into it thinking, I'm going to act like Christ. Show up with his love, his forgiveness. And then that's been my biggest thing, because a lot of times my parents have reacted like that, because they're Mexican. so I mean,
explain.
Wait, what?
So I mean, I can just drop that, and that says it all. So,
there's someone on the podcast like clocked it, got it.
So I mean, it's kind of hard to kind of go between.
So you're thinking there's a cultural fear that comes with like, this is understood amongst this ethnic group people. Like you will get this understand of like, my baby better win. Like you're going to do better than us. Like you're going to be successful. You're supposed to stand on our shoulders. There's a different understanding of that, or it's culturally understood of across the board, all Mexican families have some understanding of this way of handling.
It's definitely different. At least the Mexican family in particular.
Are you first generation here?
Yeah.
Okay, you're first generation born here.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
both
different.
of my parents were born in Mexico.
That's different.
That is different.
That is different. Second generation like only speak Spanish like at the house. And what more English thing? You get Tejano, like
it's a mix.
Culture. Yeah, bro, it's whole mix. But that is different. I had a friend that his church is a mix of like immigrants, first generation, second generation, and he's like, it's like three. They're all Mexican. They're all wildly different.
Right.
On what they expect out of life, their work ethic, what they want out of church, how they handle authority and leadership. It's fascinating talking to him. And they don't see eye to eye, even though like they're culturally and racially coming from the same place. Like their desires seem to be.
I think that goes back to what Nate was saying from when he said the fears from our parents bleeding into how they treat us, and definitely culturally it's tough coming from Mexico and then trying to fit into, because they went to California, they met in California, and from California they moved over here to Texas, and there's way big difference between California and Texas.
Oh dude, California Mexicans and Texas Mexicans are nuts.
Definitely not. So they had two culture shifts in that same time period. And when I was born in California and moved over here when I was 1. So I was raised over here in Texas.
Right. Which is different.
Yeah.
So their fears might come in the fact that they're constantly having to adapt for now would be decades of a culture that's not their own. And the culture that they adopted and wanted to adopt and then had to adopt another one.
Yeah.
And then raise their kid in a culture they're new to.
Yeah.
Also coming from
it's a lot. It's a lot to think about.
Well, and that's what's hard. I mean, it would be easy to sit here and be like, my parents, like, they're not great at this, or like they bring fear here. But remembering, like,
they're still learning.
They're still they're still learning, and we didn't know our parents whenever they were our age, you know, so we don't know what all they had to walk through. That we hear. I hear them talking about it.
Said we talked about this. I was like, if I met my dad. When I was 22, I thought about this. I met my dad when he was 22, which Alan Clayton at 22 was living it up. Apparently, from what he tells us, he was ultra cool for the 70s. We'll just believe it, but I never got to meet his roommate to really confirm or deny. But let's say like 23, 24, he comes back to the Lord. Personality wise, it's always been fascinating to think, like, what would it be like to meet that guy, to meet the guy who's in the same place as I am in this stage of life. And I think I determined, I'm like, either we would get along great or we would kill each other. And I don't think there was any middle ground. I don't think there would ever be any middle ground. But it's fascinating to think, like, our parents were young once and they are still learning. That concept is hard to be like, they've never had me at 14. This is the first time.
Like first time living.
This is the first time raising a 14-year-old you, an 18-year-old you. Yeah. So if they don't seem like they have all the answers, it's because they don't.
They don't.
Exactly.
Speaking as parents, we don't. We're figuring this out just as much as y'all are.
It's a learn on the go process.
Yes.
We are building the plane as we are flying it.
That's a good perspective.
And so what I think is sometimes that understanding when we miss it in the teenage years, my perspective is you can lack empathy on both sides.
Yeah.
They forget that they don't understand that side of you as a parent. You as a parent forget that, like, they're developing new interests.
Yeah.
They're becoming more independent. They're starting to become their own individual.
Yeah.
And that's going to change pretty much until their late 20s.
Tell your parents you love them today. You're listening to this.
Mom, Dad, I love you.
Tell your mom, your dad, stepmom, stepdad. Tell me you love them.
Throw in the step parents. Shout out.
Tell me you love them. Tell me you love them.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, we're coming up to the end. Do we want to do our fun question?
Yeah, we can do the fun question.
Is it the chip one? We doing the...
That was the season 2 ender.
I
don't have season 3 ender one yet, but we'll get there.
New season.
We'll get
there. New season. I mean, we got a new season, new question. If you're a seasoning, if I got like some plain turkey, like what seasoning are you to put on that plain turkey? Bro, I didn't say these were deep. You think these were deep? I just said as a question.
What are my options for seasoning a turkey?
Oh no.
Like Thanksgiving?
What if you said like Thanksgiving?
No, we gotta revise that.
I don't even like Thanksgiving. We're making ground beef.
Okay.
And I say we're making ground beef, all right? We're going 80-20. Okay. I'm saying season the meat. I'm gonna walk away.
Okay.
Season the meat. What are you putting? What are you putting on there?
This isn't a deep question, right?
It is deeper than you think.
Okay.
Salt and pepper.
Because some people in this podcast are not going to say they're not going to say any spice, and it's going to say everything about them.
Well, it depends though. What are we making with this ground beef? Are we making?
No, stop. I walk away. We are eating the ground beef.
Oh, okay.
Don't read into
what
it.
are you putting on ground beef? What are you putting on ground beef?
I'm making a burger, so it's just all you need is salt and pepper.
All you need is salt and pepper.
You don't need anything else.
As you say that, in a brown cardigan with glasses makes sense.
No.
Okay. All right.
I'm actually opening up my own
DeAnna, what are we putting on the ground beef?
Seasoning salt.
Like
seasoning salt.
Like Lowry's?
Yes.
Like
actually,
yes. Exactly. Like
actually,
my mother taught me.
I'm not against her on that.
Like.
Y'all think this isn't deep?
I'm not against her.
We just went from salt and pepper to Lowry's? Are we?
You're going to be shocked when I say
all right, come on.
Fajita mix.
Yo.
The spices.
Like,
for those unknowing, what is
unknowing?
on what is your spices and fajita mix?
It's just the fajita mix.
Is it that orange one? Is it that orange packet?
Store?
No, it's the.
It's like
it's
that
just probably
cilantro.
like
you know what I'm talking about? Like
I'm too
there's
used
this
to it.
there's this packet that Goya makes.
Why'd you look at Alex
Yeah,
like that? Why'd you look at
Is he
Alex?
Jamie?
Bro, I'm sorry. We're just gonna roll past
Jamie.
the Lowry's. We're gonna roll past Lowry's and salt and pepper, and I'm gonna get called out for looking at our Mexican producer for what is for fajita meat.
I mean, it is Cinco de Mayo.
Okay, how am I supposed to know?
Cinco de
I just
Mayo.
put it on. I just
All
put
right.
it
Cinco
on.
de
I
Mayo,
mean,
everybody.
everyone's trying to be
Oh, no.
real sensitive in here.
gosh.
Michael.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fine. Okay.
No.
So
Thanks
you
for
just
being
said
here,
fajita
y'all.
mix.
Fajita mix. That's
All right.
it. That's
Fajita
it.
mix.
Generic
I'm putting
fajita mix.
garlic powder, onion powder,
Okay.
For what though?
Wow.
salt and pepper.
See, he
In
cooks.
I
general.
just said
Like,
meat,
in general.
bro.
Yes, he
It's meat.
Like, are you just eating straight ground beef? Like,
I'm just saying.
that's true.
That's not a hard concept for me to
ground
understand.
beef and rice.
Do you see I
It's
eat
probably
ground
good.
beef and
It's
rice?
probably good. Definitely good.
Yeah. What are you
At
doing?
10 a.m.
What are you doing?
At 10 a.m.,
Yeah.
Mike is
Yeah,
heating up
you're-
himself some
10 o'clock
ground
in
beef
the
and
morning.
rice.
Oh, my.
Yes. Garlic powder, onion powder, red pepper, cumin,
Okay.
and then salt and pepper.
Cumin?
What do you use
Cumin.
cumin
Like-
for?
Huh?
What
is
else do you use
I
cumin
forgot
for?
What that is.
Mexican
White
food.
people Tex-Mex. You
Yeah.
use cumin.
Oh,
okay.
I see.
Yeah, white people Tex-Mex.
I don't cook.
use cumin.
I guarantee
Yeah.
you cumin's in your fajita mix.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
guarantee it.
Okay,
Someone
probably.
write that
I don't
down.
know.
Sponsored by
Go search it up. Go
Sponsored
search it
by
up.
HEB.
Sponsored by Goya. This episode's sponsored by Goya.
Oh no.
Oh God, delete the tapes. All right, y'all. So thank you so much. We enjoyed this conversation with DeAnna and Jesus. That'll never be
No.
produced. Let's see the light of day. All right. We'll see you.
I'll see
Bye.
you.